Do you like Pokemon? Do you like Minecraft? Do you like guns? Hell yeah. Well then you'll love Palworld. Today, I became the ultimate Pokemon master by catching them all, making them do my labor, and slaughtering them when they complain. I went into this game completely blind, only seeing a few clips on YouTube. So far, I have managed to beat the tutorial boss. I suck. And do other things like build up my base, create a healthy work environment, and cause even more mayhem. It all starts off with day 1, where I modeled my character off of a peanut M&M. I entered the game and was woken up by 3 pals, where I found a note yapping about some tower or keys or something.
Oh my god, bro.
It took me a little bit to get used to the controls, but wandering around helped me find a chest containing some bread and my first Pokeball. Which I accidentally tossed away immediately. I activated my first fast travel point and took my anger out on the closest thing I could find. That felt good. I figured I should be more productive, so I picked up some sticks to finish my first tutorial quest, which was to pick up some sticks and make a crafting table. With this, I made my first torch and punched a tree for more wood. I danced and tried to punch a shiny rock, but it wouldn't let me. I was able to craft a pickaxe, and this allowed me to mine the ore and the shiny rock from before. I leveled up and enhanced my health, as well as unlocked my first technology, Pal Spheres. I crafted a couple of them and unlocked the whole first row of technology. The sun was starting to set, so I left to find a more permanent area to make my base. I ran into a little sheep guy and made him become my first pal. I heard a weird noise coming from the trees and found a shiny lamp ball on my first day of Palworld ever. And then I accidentally killed him. Fuck. God damn it. I know, I'm an idiot. I don't even know how it happened. And I still have yet to see another shiny in this world. I took my anger out on the surrounding pals and spent the night upgrading my technology and building my first base. I started my morning by chopping down some trees and gathering other resources, as well as finishing my base. This owl looked cool, so I tried to catch it, but first I had to craft some more Pal Spheres. I got him first try, and he ended up being pretty strong for an early game pal. I got interrupted while I was building a bed by another owl, so I killed it and disposed of the body. After researching more technology, I started to add new things to my base, like a trap and a pal box, which would allow me to store my pals and make my base official. I crafted more Pal Spheres and left to do my first bit of exploring, where I found a dragon thing that almost killed me. I moved on to the pals more my size and collected a few new ones. When I returned home, I found a wandering trader that I sold a few things to, and then tried to capture him. It didn't work. I crafted some clothes, cooked some food, and crafted my first shield before heading to bed. I began some more modifications to my house bright and early, but gave up after running out of wood, and moved on to collecting more resources. My trap got set off during the night, so I forced the cat to become my pet in a humane way. I built a fruit basket for my pals to eat from, and a bed because I had to, which allowed me to have my first employee that doesn't get paid. I explored even more, getting further out than last time, finding a cool fox, penguin, and some deer that looked at me funny.
Come here, big fella.
I then ran into a mammarist, which I was not ready to deal with, so I ran back home and gathered resources to make a statue that would allow me to upgrade my catching power and the power of my pals, using other pals' souls for some reason. I woke up on day 4 and immediately got my free laborers to work. I built a chest which allowed me to upgrade my base to level 2, unlocking more spots for workers. I now had an army of 3 lambs ready to do my work for me, increasing my productivity. In order to upgrade my base again, all I needed was another pal bed, so I got to work and made it happen. I was eager to get a ton of workers as fast as possible, and was able to skip to level 3 right away, so I worked on getting a level 4 base which required a berry farm. I got that done and moved on to level 5, which needed a pal gear workbench that was easy enough to get. After that, I got bored of upgrading and decided to explore some more when I ran into my first flying Pokemon, but got edged by not being able to attack him to lower his health, so I wasn't able to catch it. I walked home defeated, catching as many pals as I could on the way. I did some base maintenance and crafted an old bow and arrow for the next time I found a flying Pokemon, and got a full night's rest. I collected my arrows and made more spheres so I could immediately start to look for another flying pal. I made it to the spot with nothing in sight, so I had to settle for some foxes and little dogs. I leveled up, allowing me to unlock even more technology, and the logging site and mining site caught my eye as a way to automate farming. I headed back to my base, catching more pals on the way, and messed with the Mammarist, which was a bad idea. I got my stuff back and found another dragon thing that I tried to catch with a 0.31% chance because you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Somehow it worked and I got my strongest pal yet, Dinossum. I did a little dance to celebrate and then got to work making some food for my workers. I edited my starting lineup and gave Dinossum a pat. I tried to figure out how to ride her, but it didn't unlock for a while, so I decided to call it a night. Day 6 started with me crafting some essentials and working on unlocking even more technology. I repaired my armor and worked on my berry farm. I decided to work on upgrading my base again. In order to do that, I would need to build a pal gear bench. I collected the resources needed and built the workbench while also unlocking my first glider. I immediately set myself on fire after using it once, so I decided to stick to upgrading my base and got to level 6. I turned my fox into a flamethrower by crafting a harness for it, and it was the coolest thing ever. The first thing I used it for was, of course, to bully some chickens. I built a bell to tell my workers to go into attack mode, and right before I placed it, I conveniently got raided, allowing me to test it out. My workers made quick work of them, Dinossum putting in most of the work. I spent the rest of the day collecting resources for the mines and got to bed pretty late. I did some remodeling to start day 7 and built a farm for certain pals to graze at, letting them produce resources like eggs and wool. I got tired of collecting my own resources, so I built a logging site to automate wood farming. But I didn't understand how to work it, so I was forced to collect my own wood and stone again. I built the other stone farm after doing a bit of off-camera mining. And wrapped my day up being AFK by accident, then going to bed. I decided to go exploring, so I stocked up on pal spheres and right away found a llama. So I started bullying it until it decided to be my friend. I headed back to the base to grab my new friend and found one of my workers passed out from exhaustion. He might just earn a promotion. Looking at my technology tree, I found out I can ride this llama, so I quickly unlocked it and tested it out. I also noticed my cats were mining stone for me, which meant I could spend less time gathering resources. I crafted a crusher which would let me convert stone into palladium. On day 9, I left early to explore and tried to catch a mammoth, which did not work. But I found another flying pal, finally. This time I was able to use my llama to attack and lower its health, enough so that I could catch it. I sat and pondered after catching it and kept on exploring, unlocking another fast travel spot and talking to a skilled islander. I trekked forward, catching some more pals on the way when I was attacked by a pack of wolves, causing me to run away and focus on stuff more my size. I spent the rest of the day working on my base and found out Dinosaur could also do labor, which was a nice surprise. I woke up to my Dinosaur still working, that's why it's my favorite pal, and started to work on some new technology. I got some cooking done and waited for the crafting to finish before heading out to try and challenge the Mammarist, thinking it shouldn't be too hard. I did learn that fire does a ton more damage, obviously, but ran away after not doing enough. Back at base, I started to try and complete the 10 of each PAL bonus XP to level up more, as well as building a new furnace which would unlock a very important material, the ingot. I crafted a couple and used them to unlock a bunch of new technology, like nails, which I also used to unlock even more items. I noticed some pals I had never seen before and realized they must only spawn at night, so I spent most of the night catching new pals. I woke up feeling good, admiring my pals' free labor, and how many resources I am now able to collect. I upgraded my crew and left to go explore, but came right back after realizing I forgot pal spheres. I left again only to get bullied by some deer that I really wanted to catch. I tried settling for a penguin, but the deer had other plans. I got back to my gear and hauled ass towards the ocean, finding some cool new pals and some rare chests. Eventually, I cut my exploration short after running out of pal spheres and headed home where I found another deer. Not learning my lesson from before, I tried to capture it, but of course it didn't work. I made it home right as nighttime started and went to sleep after doing my nightly routine of upgrades and resource gathering. I got straight to work upgrading my base as I wanted to accumulate more workers. First thing I needed was a jacuzzi for them to rest in, so I got that built and tested it out. I got to base level 8 and unlocked the meat cleaver, which allowed me to take care of any slackers. I made sure to do this within eyesight of my other workers to boost productivity. I then stayed up late cooking 23 eggs and making more pal spheres so I could capture more night pals. This led into day 13 where I stayed up and wandered out to try and find any rare night pals. I found some chests and relatively the same pals I've been seeing, so I headed back. On my way back, I filled out my pal deck and tried to get lucky with a Mammarist.
Ain't gonna happen.
You'd think I would have learned my lesson by now. I got home and started to gather resources so I could unlock more technology. I am a technology fiend. I began looking around for pals that I haven't caught 10 of to get the increased XP bonus by catching them. I got the last Cativa I needed and found a way to see the map of where each pal spawns the most. I decided to head backwards through the spawn to see what I could find. It led to an unmarked dungeon entrance, so I entered not knowing what to expect. Inside of the cave were a lot of new pals I had never seen before, so I tried to capture as many as I could. I kept going deeper in the cave using my fire pal as a light source, and then ran into some bandits which Dinosaur made quick work of. I kept wandering around, finding some rare chests and more bandits when I began to think I was lost. Luckily, I found the boss fight where I was able to capture the giant Gumos and steal his loot. I headed back to my base, and by the time I got there, the sun was already rising. I spent the morning organizing my pals and doing basic chores around the base. I also made sure my workers were in check, where I found my penguin stuck in the side of the wall throwing my stone around, so I had to teach him a lesson. I built a medicine workbench so I could upgrade my base to level 9. I also built a spear workbench so that I could craft pal spheres much cheaper. I accidentally aggroed a Mammarist near my base, which was almost a disaster. Whoops. I spent the rest of the day filling out my 10 pal XP bonus and got attacked that night by some Lavanders, but they didn't last long. I headed off with my llama and immediately ran into the deer from before. This time, I had megaspheres and I was dedicated to catching one. They charged at me and put up a big fight. I was finally able to capture it. I kept on exploring, as I was going to need a lot of leather to build the mount for the flying pal. I picked a different route this time and found some roadside bandits that I took care of. Then I found some hogs that were a good source of leather, so I disposed of them, and wandered my way into the first boss fight area, which at the time I did not think I was ready for. So I fast traveled back to base and equipped my deer. We also had an intruder on the base, so my workers finished him off. Another mammoth wandered onto my base, and I made the mistake of attacking him. It turned into a bloodbath. I had to replace all of my workers, and found a quick way to get leather, finally. As I flew into the sky, the sun came up on day 17. I immediately left to go explore, since I had not been able to go as far out as I would like to on foot. I found a bandit base with a trapped pal, but realized I had no pal spheres, of course. I grabbed some and flew back to the spot to free the pal. I moved on and witnessed a fox drowning, then almost drowned myself when my bird got stuck under a bridge. Karma. I ran into some overpowered girl thing that kept trying to kill me, so I flew away and reached a boss fight area, where I fought with some pals till morning. I started day 18 fast traveling home to get caught up on my resources. I watched as my pals did all my work for me like a proud father, then got interrupted by some bandits attacking. I knew I needed to finish the first boss with 2 days remaining, so I spent today working on leveling up my pals and getting all the resources I would need. I tried to challenge Mamorist one more time to test my skills, but I was only able to make a small dent in his health. So I just gave up and went home to work on upgrading. I woke up and left to travel around the world, unlocking a fast travel spot in the wet marsh. I was trying to find some powerful fire pals to use on the Mammoth boss, but I couldn't find them anywhere. So if you know where to find them, let me know in the comments. If you have made it this far in the video and want to see more videos like it, please leave a comment on which game you think I should try next. I wandered towards the realm of frozen wings, where I found a cute little electric guy and decided to try and tackle this mini boss. It turned out to be super easy with my lineup of pals, so I gained confidence in fighting the first real boss. I traveled back to my base and unlocked the egg incubator with the ancient technology from defeating the boss. This would allow me to hatch my own pals, and in the future breed them. I then started to prepare for the final boss by repairing my gear, upgrading my pals, and stocking up on food. I also added the cute little electric guy to my crew and tested him out. I got a brand new pal from the egg I was incubating and added her to my workforce. And finally, I felt confident enough to fight the boss on day 20, so I fast traveled there and entered the arena. My Dinosaur ended up doing crazy damage, so the whole fight only took about 5 minutes. ended the day by dancing on top of their tower after defeating them and looking over at a world that
I would soon rule.